and welcome back to another YouTube video. If you guys are new here, hey, my name is Georgia. I'm a women's online health and fitness coach, and I specialize in helping absolute powerhouse women step into their ultimate confidence across all areas of their life, all whilst dropping at least 10 kilos of body fat, toning up and building a lifestyle that actually fits for them long term. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for joining me for another YouTube video. I recently dropped the most incredible transformation on my stories and everyone went absolutely crazy. So I thought today I would break down exactly how my client Emily has gone from this to this in the space of just 4 months. And best believe me, we are just getting started. Emily is an incredibly busy woman. She has a very busy and demanding job where she quite often works varied shift patterns, which can make building a routine pretty difficult. Plus, she's also studying alongside her job. So even when she's not working, she is quite often still doing work towards that job. And she has a super busy social life and is out most weekends, which can mean that things are quite hard to balance and can be the reason why a lot of people don't see progress, which is exactly why I want to run you through everything that we have done to achieve this incredible transformation in today's video. And the mad thing is, the difference between these two pictures is literally just 4 kilos on the scales, which in the grand scheme of things is not a huge amount. Yet Emily's figure is already looking completely different. She's looking so much more defined, she's feeling super toned, and ultimately her confidence is honestly through the roof. So with that being said, let's jump into the video. I am not holding anything back today. I'm going to be running you through every single thing that we have done. Now, the first thing that I do with any of my clients, and Emily was no different in this, was take a look at what she was currently doing within her lifestyle, within her nutrition, with her training. Now, the crazy thing about Emily is she's actually a qualified personal trainer herself. So she is the epitome of, I know exactly what to do, but I'm just not doing it. She has all the knowledge, all the tools, but she knew that she was capable of more. So when it came to that initial lifestyle audit, she was already training 4 times per week. This was already consistent. So not something that I was concerned about, but more something that we needed to optimize. She was already tracking her food, but she knew that she wasn't doing this as accurately as possible, and she didn't necessarily know if she had the right targets set for her and for her goals. And ultimately, she was finding that she wasn't being overly consistent, which was the exact reason why she wasn't seeing progress. And again, because she's a PT herself, she knew that this was why, which is why she wanted that extra accountability. So step number 1 was to nail down her nutrition. I knew that she already had good knowledge of what she was eating, but we knew that this needed to be a whole lot more accurate. So I got to work on setting her calories and macros so that she could have the flexibility to eat what she wanted and what she enjoyed, but in a way that also worked for her goals. Once we had a couple of weeks of data off the back of this tracking, I was then able to go in and help her fine tune this. And this is something that we continue to do week on week in her check-ins. We're always striving to make that nutrition 1% better in a way that works for her. Equally as well, when we had things like social events, so we're talking bottomless brunches, trips to the pub, meals out. We've obviously gone through Christmas and New Year's as well during this time. It was about looking at these week by week in her check-ins and setting a plan of action to work around that. If it was a bigger event like a bottomless brunch, for example, it might be that we did some calorie banking during the week to give her some extra room to be able to enjoy those social events and ultimately still see progress, which is exactly what happened. Once we'd nailed down nutrition, step number 2 was to get into her training. Now, as I said, with that initial lifestyle audit, I knew that Emily was already consistently training 4 days per week, but something that I see quite often with people who are more experienced in the gym is they start going through the motions, which when you've been training for a long time and you want to make meaningful change to your physique is something that we definitely need to work on. So this is where I came in to give her program a complete freshen up, introduce her to some new exercises that she hadn't tried before, which ultimately made motivation literally skyrocket. So automatically her training seemed so much more exciting just because it had a fresh perspective. But the other thing that was really, really important with Emily's training was the training intensity. And this is something we went really, really in depth with and have really dialed into as the weeks have gone on, striving to make sure that she is pushing close enough to failure to see meaningful growth, but also to make sure that she is recovering adequately. Also with her training, it was a fine line of balancing cardio, but also making sessions manageable to fit into her day. As someone who, as I said, is already working a busy job, long hours, varied shift patterns, and is also studying outside of this, time is limited. So it was definitely a balancing act of making sure that her training sessions were sufficient enough to get enough volume through the muscle groups that we were working, but also making enough time to get some cardio in at the end. We've also experimented with the time of day that Emily trains at. So initially she started training in the evening, but we found that she wasn't necessarily having enough time to balance her studying, and she was finding that the gym was just so busy that she couldn't actually utilize most of her workouts. So we actually over the last couple of weeks have started trialing doing earlier sessions and shifting her sleep pattern very, very slightly to complement this. And by doing this, not only is she able to go to the gym when it is less busy, but it also means that when she finishes work, she knows that she doesn't need to worry about training and she can focus on her studying and having some downtime. Plus, this has made her sleeping pattern so much more regimented, which has also helped her energy from day to day and her recovery. So it's a win-win. Now, lastly, the third thing that we've been working on is accountability. And this is something that really, really is invaluable. And it's also why I work with a coach myself, because ultimately, when we're accountable to someone who is X amount of steps ahead of us, we are so much more likely to A, step up to the plate and also see faster and better growth, which is exactly what's happened with Emily. Like I said at the beginning of this video, she has all the tools, she knows exactly what to do, but she still wasn't showing up and doing it. And that's where the accountability comes into it. So as I've mentioned throughout this video, we have weekly check-ins, which mean that every single week she gets the opportunity to step back and reflect on her week. This is where I can come back to her to help her work through any roadblocks or anything that she's struggling with, and we can strategize on things to put into place in the coming weeks. So if it's things like social events coming up, if she's got something different going on with her work schedule, which is going to be a bit more challenging, or like I said most recently, trialing those early sessions to see if that actually works better for her, it means that we have a constant evolving plan of action from week to week. But I think here with accountability, the thing that is most important is the fact that I am in her corner every single day. If she's struggling, if she's been unwell, if she's going through things in her personal life, in her work life, whatever it is, I am there to support her through that. And I think it's really important to be able to acknowledge that, yes, we set out a plan at the start of this journey, but ultimately that plan isn't necessarily going to fit long term. And it's being able to have that support and those adaptations when needed so that we can keep that consistency. And that's the reason why Emily's been able to see such incredible progress in literally the space of 4 months. And best believe me when I say, we are only just getting started. If you're someone like Emily who keeps telling yourself, I know exactly what I need to do, I just need to actually start doing it, yet X amount of weeks, months down the line, you find yourself repeating those things over and over again, I'm going to put the link to my one-to-one coaching application below this video. Fill that out. If we're a good fit to work together, I'll drop you a message and we can chat a little bit more about how I work and how I can help, and go from there. I hope you guys have found this video helpful and it's given you some food for thought on how you can really accelerate your progress in 2026. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.